Hey, welcome back once again to Philly Sports Spotlight. Early in the show, we told you that Penn State head football coach Bill O'Brien had decided to stay in Happy Valley and not interview for any of the vacant NFL coaching jobs. Perhaps that decision made a little easier following the recent announcement that Pennsylvania Governor Tom Corbett has filed a federal suit against the NCAA for what he called overreaching and unlawful sanctions placed on the university.
After months of research and deliberation, the Commonwealth's attorneys and I have concluded that the NCAA sanctions were overreaching and unlawful. And later today, we will file a federal antitrust lawsuit on behalf of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania against the NCAA, asking the court to throw out all of the NCAA sanctions against Penn State. The NCAA took actions and piled on, choosing to levy, in their words, unprecedented sanctions against Penn State and its football program. The NCAA's leadership can't make up their own rules. Our complaint states that the NCAA forced Penn State's new president to agree to its sanctions under threat of the death penalty for the Penn State football program for 4 years. It did so without conducting its own investigation and without following its own rules for reviewing potential infractions by its members. The NCAA shouldn't have sanctioned Penn State. I believe, and our suit contends, that the NCAA has no authority and operated outside of their own bylaws with these sanctions that they brought. This was a criminal matter, not a violation of NCAA rules.
Now, for those of you not up to speed on the sanctions that were placed on Penn State by the almighty NCAA, here they are. Here are the top four anyway. A $60 million fine to the university to get an endowment set up to be established for victims of child abuse around the nation. Football program banned from bowl games and postseason play for 4 years. Initial scholarships reduced from 25 to 15 per year for 4 years. Now, if you're a Division I school, that is very hard to deal with as far as competing against other schools. The thing that a lot of Joe Paterno fans were upset about, the vacation of the team's wins from 1998 to 2011. That's 111 victories, reducing Joe Paterno's overall win total from 409 to 298, thus moving him 79 behind former Florida State coach Bobby Bowden. 79 wins behind Bobby Bowden. Of course, the team is still on a 5-year probationary football period. By the way, Governor Corbett also went on to say that the NCAA sanctions did not punish Jerry Sandusky or the others who were criminally charged, but instead punished past, present, and future students. Well, as we told you at the top of the show, the NHL and the Players Association this past weekend ending their nearly 4-month-old lockout with a deal that has apparently produced a 10-year agreement.
Good morning, everyone. Don Fear and I are here to tell you that we have reached an agreement on the framework of a new collective bargaining agreement, the details of which need to be put to paper. We've got to dot a lot of I's, cross a lot of T's. There's still a lot of work to be done, but the basic framework of the deal has been agreed upon. We have to go through a ratification process. The Board of Governors has to approve it from the league side. Obviously, the players have to approve it as well. We're not in a position right now to give you any information about schedule, when we're starting. It's early in the morning, and we've been at this all day and all night, obviously. But we will be back to you very shortly, hopefully later today, with more information in that regard. I would be remiss if we didn't thank Scott Beckenbaugh, the Deputy Director of the FMCS in the United States, for his assistance in the mediation process. And I want to thank Don Fear because he and the Players Association, as well as the people that work with me at the league, went through a long, tough period, and we still have more work to do, but it's good to be at this point. Don?
Just very briefly, any process like this in the system we have is difficult. It can be long. I've said repeatedly throughout this process that, you know, when somebody would say, what do you see ahead? And the answer was, you get up tomorrow and try and find a way to do it, and you keep doing that until you find a way to succeed. And as Gary's just indicated, we have the framework of a deal. We have to do the legal work. We have to do the constituent communication work. And at least from my end, I'm pretty sure from Gary's too, we need to let them know the details before we tell all of you. But having said that, hopefully we're at a place where all those things will proceed fairly rapidly and with some dispatch, and we'll get back to what we used to call business as usual just as fast as we can.
We're not going to take any questions.
Okay. Some anyway. What are you going to do to encourage fans to forgive and forget?
We'll be back to you after we go through the processes we have to go through. We'll be talking to the fans, most importantly, but at this point in time, we still have some work to do. And so you were here all day and all night, and we wanted to at least let you and everybody who follows the game know where we were in the process. Thanks, and we'll see you later.
And hopefully within just a very few days, the fans can get back to watching people who are skating, not the two of us.
The hope is to still play a 50 to 48 game season with practices starting this weekend. Folks, we'll be back to wrap up this edition of Philly Sports Spotlight right after the break. As we return to Philly Sports Spotlight, we do with the answer to this week's trivia question. Of course, here's the question, which was, during Andy Reid's 14-year tenure here in Philadelphia, how many head coaching changes were there in the rest of the National Football League? The answer? 104 coaching changes. I know it sounds like a lot, but think about it. 32 teams, 14 years. Sounds just about right, doesn't it? Hey, listen, if you have a story idea you'd like to shoot our way, do not hesitate to jump on our website. That's WMCN.TV. Tell us what you got going on, and we'll come out and shoot a story and get it right here on our Philly Sports Spotlight show. Hope you've enjoyed tonight's show. On behalf of the entire staff here, I'm Phil Andrews. Don't forget to join us next week at 7 and 11:30. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.